Let's try that again. Hey, everybody. Should we do an intro music again?
Sure.
Of course, right? It's so out of sorts when it's not the outside. I think it's so different.
Yeah, it's very different.
There's like not as much pressure. All right, there we go. There we go. Now, welcome to Bill and Mary. I'm Bill Squire. That's Mary Santora.
Hi, that's me.
Yeah. And how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Way better.
Yeah. Oh, look at the queen of social media.
Yeah, I have to.
No,
it's
you're
so
great at
blurry.
it.
God.
Oh.
No, I'm doing much better today. Haven't cried.
Oh, good. Yeah, one of our bosses came in and is like, "Hey, was Mary okay? I saw that she was crying on the live stream." I'm like, "Yeah,
she just does that.
She just cries. She's a crier."
I'm very much so a crier, and like I
Yeah.
said, even yesterday, right after I was done crying, I was like, I feel so much better now.
Right.
And it just is one of those things that I'm trying to get. Like you said yesterday, I always quantify it. I'm always like, I feel like such an idiot, or I hate to say this, or blah blah blah, and like, but whatever. I'm getting better about it.
Well, that's good. And I think one of the things that might help you is you need something
Therapy.
else. No, not just therapy, but you need something else too. Like you say you don't know what to do with yourself when you have downtime.
Right.
So you need to fill that downtime with something that is enjoyable that also doesn't bring pressure into your life.
Yeah.
So you need
I need a
nice
hobby
that is
not comedy or radio related.
And also like not financially straining. You need something that's very, just very light and easy to do that relaxes you.
Yeah.
So
and I haven't figured it out yet.
You haven't figured it out yet. But so for me, the first hobby that I kind of I got into record collecting a few years ago, and I just got my record player back.
I saw on
out
your
of
story.
storage, and I'm putting all my records on the shelves and stuff, and I'm so thrilled about it. I'm so happy about it. Because it's not just having the record player. Now that it's there, I'm like, oh, I can go hunt for records. Because it's one thing to get the records that you want, but
going
the hobby
to like
part,
a record store,
going to a record store and digging
sifting
through, or going to yard sales, or going to estate sales and finding gems. Like, that is really satisfying.
So I actually went for your Christmas present.
Yeah.
I went to a couple thrift stores and was looking through their records because I knew you were getting your record player back, and that was what I was going to get you. I was like hoping I could stumble across something, and that's when I found those tins of the Marvel characters.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
like, I was looking for records, and I ended up finding those. I was like, oh, well, there you go, just as good.
And I appreciate that. And I used your blanket last night.
How was it?
It was good. Got a little bit of something on it, but it's fine.
Bill!
What?
Oh, you gotta christen it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's your blanket.
It's
You
my
can put
blanket.
whatever
Yeah,
you want on it.
You can jizz on it. It's fine.
Ew, but it's like a longer, fluffier. You have to wash it. Please don't let it crust. It's your blanket. Do whatever you want with it, but put it in the washer.
I just used it. I just stuck it to the wall, so I don't have to put a
Hey,
hanger.
there you go.
No, I didn't actually get
Two
anything on
birds,
it.
one
I was just
stone.
kidding. Just teasing you.
Was it big enough?
I wasn't actually the one using it, so.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
I think
for her it was.
I think I got the queen size one.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you're probably not gonna use this on your bed. I knew your bed was a king size bed. I was like, but for a couch, it feels like a queen size blanket is big enough. But yeah. Go ahead.
What could we do? Like, what
What
interests
hobbies?
you? Yeah.
So I would like to get.
You're pretty athletic. You like doing things like that.
Yes.
But it also needs to be something that you can do at home.
Right. Well, do you mean home Cleveland or home my apartment?
Yeah, like I think like there's got to be aspects like so one of the aspects of like the shoe collecting and the records is like there's activities like there's the hunt, but then there's like the organization and all the different aspects that go into it, like whether I'm alphabetizing the records or cleaning my shoes and putting them in their little cabinets and stuff. Like that part is very calming to me.
Right.
So if you can find something where you are it's exciting and there's like that hunt that that fulfillment of finding something, but then you also get to add in there's other levels to it, that could be a really good activity for you. So
I mean, the only thing, I haven't done a lot of stuff outside of comedy or radio or whatever. I just got back to the gym yesterday, where my gym closed again today. So that feels good. I also do want to get back in. I was doing yoga once or twice a week for a few weeks. The last time I was home, I think I was home like before I left in August is when I was on that train of hot yoga and yada yada yada. So I'm going to do that. Those are on Mondays. But it sounds. It's so. I want to get into reading. I've never been a huge reader. I've never been.
That's a great idea.
I don't even know what genre I like. I have no idea. I've never read anything, and I was actually talking
without overthinking.
Got it.
And I say, what's your favorite book of all time? What is your favorite book
I
of all time?
don't know. I don't read, dude.
What's the last book you read?
like in its entirety.
Yeah.
It would have had to been something from high school.
Okay.
Like
so
that's the
it's been a
last
long
time I read an entire book was in high school because I had to. And even those I wouldn't read. I would like get
Skim,
the cliff notes or like buy the whatever. I would read
You
someone
strike
else's
me-
essay on.
Well, no,
on-
because you read what's his face's book or the
Who?
Judd Apatow book.
Oh yeah. I read that while I'm on the treadmill
Right.
because it's like broken up. But even that is like comedy related. I
Right.
don't want to read.
but it's a good start to know
Yeah.
what like that does interest you.
Yeah.
So I think a good direction for you to go would probably I don't see you as like a fiction reader that much.
See, I was wondering. Oh, bubble me there. I was wondering if I would get into like a well-written story, like
Yeah.
or like a funny. I don't know. I have no idea.
Why
like,
don't you? I think you have a couple options here. I think biographies are very interesting.
Yeah.
So you look up people that you are interested in, and it can even be comedy related. I love Don Rickles' autobiography. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So is the one about what's his face?
Steve
Rodney,
Martin?
Rodney
Oh.
Dangerfield. Steve Martin's is great too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of great books about comedy that you can read, but I like bios in general because you just learn a lot about people, and you like there's history woven into it.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's really into reading, and she reads like everything. And she was saying, because I like the oh my god, Dan Brown. His books.
Oh, yeah.
The movies, Angels and Demons
Right,
and
yeah.
whatever. She's like, if you like those type of thriller, like figure it out movies, she's like, he's obviously a very well written author. She's like, so you already have a base, like that would be a good place to start. She reads murder mystery, she reads comedy, she reads everything. And she said that those kind of books, and she said it in a way that I didn't take an insult to it, but I know what she was like getting at. She's like, and it's like an easy place to start. Like it's an easy
Right.
read. I'm like, I'm not an idiot. Like I
Right.
feel like I
No,
can read a book and
But I get what she's saying with that easy place to start because those books you pick them up and they're meant to draw you in immediately.
and it's a term, and you can sit there and just keep going and keep going. And I felt like not insulted, but a little like, bitch, I can read. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need an easy read, like a pop-up book or
Then go
See
read Heart of
Spot
Darkness
Run.
and see if you like reading.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's yeah.
What's the War of 1912? What's that big ass book? 150. It's like numbers. 1984,
That's not that big of a book.
1894.
1984 is not that big of a book.
Is that the name of the? What am I thinking of? It's like a giant book that's hard to read. That a bunch of people. Is it Orson Welles? This is again.
Time Machine. Anyway, so another place you could go.
1984.
1984. It's not
Yeah.
a giant book though.
Is it supposed to be hard to read?
No,
I don't know.
that's
All right,
actually
anyway.
a great book. That would be a good one to read.
Well, that's why I feel like I kind of want to just like see what are like the top 5 books of all time that everybody's read,
Right.
And just pick one and start with it.
I would definitely recommend 1984. I think that's a good one. Animal Farm's a great book.
I read Animal Farm.
Yeah.
I liked that. I read Mockingbird, To Kill a Mockingbird.
great one.
These are all high school.
Yeah, but they're still
But
great
that's the last
books.
time I
Yeah.
read when I was forced
But
to.
that's a good indicator of what you like.
Yeah.
So something like To Kill a Mockingbird, that's one of the best books of all time. Like,
That's what
I
I'm saying.
love that book.
Yeah. What's the
that's-
Lenny one? Lenny
Of Mice and Men.
of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
I've read that.
That's
one.
a short one. That's an easy one.
That's a little one, yeah.
But there's and then go from there. Those are authors that have a lot of works, and you can go in different directions with that. Or what I was gonna suggest is your sister is one of the biggest Harry Potter fans I've met, and I'm sure she has all the books.
She does.
So maybe do the Harry Potter.
I'm wondering if I want to read something that isn't that I haven't already seen the movie because like actually you know what, the last book I read in college, I read the Dexter books, the first 2.
Okay.
Because I loved the series so much
Yeah.
that I read them and it was great and I liked it because as they were describing it, I was picturing the characters. Like the painting was already there for me. I was
Right.
already, this is what Dexter looks like. I didn't create that in my own head. So I feel like I like that, and that also kind of takes away from it because that's one of the big parts of reading is you get to kind of they paint the picture for
Right.
you, but you imagine it. You're going to imagine the way a character looks differently than I will.
Right,
Even
right.
if we read the same words, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the cool part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like.
You get to create your own world. Yeah.
Pretty much. So I kind of want to stay away from maybe something that I've seen before. Like when
Okay.
my friend recommended the Dan Brown books, I was like, I've seen those movies, but I know he has other books
Have
than
you
that
ever
too.
read any
but
like Michael Crichton?
I've never read. No,
Okay. So he's
there was
also
a
so he's got a
Faulkner?
lot. Yeah, Faulkner. That's another one. That's a little. I don't actually know what he writes about.
I don't either.
I know
These
the
are just
names,
like
though.
author
Authors,
names.
yeah. So I would check out something like that, or even Stephen King's got 1 billion books that
Yeah,
you
but
can
I
read.
don't like horror.
But they're not all horror.
I don't know.
They're like some are horror, but some are just like Stand By Me. Like that was
That's a Stephen King?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was a kid dies, but right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
people die.
there's a bunch of different directions you can go with the whole
with reading.
reading,
The reason why I think I've never gotten into it before is because I would always try to read at night, like on nights off that I had stand up when I'm already tired, and I would always fall asleep. I would try. So I'm thinking if that's something I can do in the morning, like wake up.
It's actually a very good
make
for
a cup
your
of
brain.
coffee and read like two chapters of a book in the morning, and like
There you go.
try to get into something with it.
All right. Should we do a little book club? Do you want me to start reading too?
You can read
And
if you
then
want.
If you pick a book,
Our friend
I'll
Gab
read it
would
too.
probably be into it.
Yeah.
She's got nothing.
Yeah.
I texted her today.
Yeah.
She's got nothing.
She's the loneliest person we've ever met.
Yeah.
Take that, Gab.
Just kidding.
you know that loser Gab that's never got anything
so
going
sweet.
on. So she'll be like, yeah, I'll be at your book club.
Right.
Yeah.
We can do a little book club.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'd do that.
Well, then the other thing, I don't know if I want to have pressure on like a time for it, like I have to read a certain amount by a certain time.
But deadlines give you some sort of
Actually,
urgency.
I'm good at deadlines.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I think there it doesn't have to be like read this much by this, like once a month you read a book.
Yeah.
You can read a book in a month.
Yeah.
It's not that
I
hard.
think I could read a book a month. Yeah.
So all right, let's set this goal. I'll do this with you.
Okay. A book a month for
Book a month
2020?
for 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we map out the 12 books?
Yes.
Okay. I
Yes.
think so too.
And we'll take turns picking them. So you pick for January, I'll pick for February, and we'll alternate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Yeah. This morning, I didn't do anything remotely positive or encouraging. I looked up apartments that I can't afford. I went down that rabbit hole all morning.
But that also shows you what you want, though.
I
And
know
that also
exactly what I want.
Right. So you know what you want, but also that opens up another door for something that you could have as a hobby, which is what aspect of looking at apartments do you like?
It's like I know I want like a cute little modern place with like stainless steel appliances and granite countertops and like open concept. Like that's what when I walk in, I want to see a cute like apartment out of a book. Like
Right.
that's what I want. It's not like the searching for it or anything like that. It's like hey, this is. Then for the first time today, I saw a 1-bedroom apartment that had like a lofted area.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh man, I could
much?
put a pool table there. $1,700 a month.
Where's that at?
Avon.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it was something I can never afford, and I
Yeah.
understand that if I'm going to spend $1,700
It's
a month
$1,700 a month
for a
one
one-bedroom apartment,
with
which
a
is
little
what
loft.
which is what I'm like. I should buy a house. That's
Right.
what I'm going to do.
I'm not paying that much for my condo, even with my fees. And
I know,
Stuff. Like,
I
that's
know.
like, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is that I spent all morning looking at like these adorable, perfect places that I'm like, if I had any type of anything,
Yeah.
which is what inspired my tweet. I tweeted out, I was like, if there's any rich men who would like to pay for my rent, that would be incredible. I'm not
takers?
no.
No.
So a couple of people tagged friends, but I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And I said I don't want to see your wiener. We can go to the
This
movies.
is not a sexual thing. It's just
Maybe if
that
you
thing.
just have way too much money and you feel like you need to share it with me, I would appreciate that. But it's because I was looking at what's up.
I'm just.
I was looking at places like that.
I'm getting a text from someone watching.
Oh, okay. I was looking at places like that,
This
and
is
I was
from the
like,
girl that knows nothing about trees.
oh. I was like, yeah, if I could get this cute little 1-bedroom, and then I could
she
put like
makes-
a pool table.
She makes crafty wall art.
She
That's-
makes it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like that's something maybe you could look into, some sort of like craft.
Arts and crafts
Yeah.
time.
I used to make duct tape wallets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually like that was my merch for a while.
Really?
I would I'd spend the time during the day making duct tape wallets, and then I'd go and like that was what I would sell after the show.
Did it work?
It worked great. I'd
Wow.
sell. That's probably the best. It would just took forever to make them.
Oh, yeah, I'm
like,
sure.
I mean, I got it down where I could make like 4 an hour, but I would sell 20 or 30 a show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because dudes are like, yeah, I'll do
duct
duct
tape, yeah.
And like especially around Christmas and stuff, when people get them as gifts.
Yeah.
And then I would color them for whatever sports team in the town that I was at.
Oh, that's pretty
so
cool.
if I was in Michigan, I would do like gold and yellow or blue and gold or whatever. They're Michigan colors, blue and yellow, whatever the maize I think
Blue
they
and-
call it.
yeah.
So I did that, and then like Wisconsin, I do red and white,
Yeah.
and like Packers colors and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it
that's
would just
cool.
sell like crazy.
I bet, dude.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, I think I also, like I said, I want to be smarter. I just want to be more intelligent. So I think reading is what
Well,
I'm
I
going to
think-
start with.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do, and I don't think you can get more intelligent. I think you
can.
Is it more intelligent? I think your intelligence is always there. It's how you apply it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So see, I answer that question. But I mean, I guess
be more smarter.
Be more smarter is my goal for 2020.
Yeah.
That's my.
I think reading books is a good way to do that.
Yeah, and I think setting one achievable goal at a time is a good idea too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will do that.
And that's also gonna, like, when you feel like, oh man, I got nothing to do, and I feel like I'm being like you. I don't think you ever read and like spend a lot of time reading, going, well, that was a waste of time.
Right.
That's one of those
Especially
things that's
if you
very
like the book.
fulfilling,
Yeah.
and then you can do it on your downtime, and you can also start collecting books.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty cool because there's different.
I can replace my DVD shelf with a bookshelf.
Right. You're
my
real
DVD,
smart.
I know.
Yeah.
A friend of mine that I was also talking to was saying how all of my hobbies revolve around comedy.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, when I read books, it's about comedy. When I listen to podcasts, it's about comedy. When I'm even like I was describing to her the way that I want to take time off.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you can't relate to people if you don't lead a normal person life. She's like, you're even talking about your downtime in a way to benefit comedy. She's like, you gotta separate your life, man. Like you're so, and it's not bad to be that involved, but she's like, you need to take time and do things that have nothing to do with your career. Like that it doesn't matter. You're not looking for material in it. You're not doing anything like that. You're just doing these things because you thoroughly enjoy them. And I'm like, well, who knows what the hell that is?
Right.
Like,
No, it's very difficult, but that's why it's important to find that thing, because then it actually ends up informing your career in different ways, because it'll take you, just give you different points of view, and especially with reading, where you can get into all these different writers' heads, basically, and learn about how other people think about the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's eye-opening, and it's great.
Yeah.
And it's so peaceful, too.
Yeah, that's my younger sister. I lived with her last year for a few months, and she read every single morning. It was usually Harry Potter, but it didn't matter. Every morning she would like get up, get my niece ready for school, get her on the bus, and then between the time that my niece was on the bus and she had to go to work, whether it was 10 minutes or an hour, she would read. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll pick some books. We'll tweet it out.
Yeah,
that way
and if
people
you
can,
have, I was gonna say, if you guys have any suggestions, Twitter, Instagram, hit us up and let me know, because I'm a very big time novice.
People can kind of go along with us.
Yeah, too. Yeah.
So we can say, hey, this is the book we're reading this month, and we can go from there.
Do a podcast.
Yeah, we can do it.
I feel like that's probably already done.
Right.
We can just do an interactive, tweet about it.
Yep.
I like that.
Do that. All right. So, yeah, good. That you got some directions to go with the hobbies.
So. Yeah.
And, have you ever been like a crafty person?
I'm good
artsy?
at it, but not really. I mean, that's just a skill that I've had that like comes from, I think, from cheering because we have to do that stuff in like decorating lockers and this and that and making, but we make things for the players every week, and having nieces and nephews. It's something I'm good at, but I have never spent a lot of time like making wreaths or anything like that. Wreaths.
It has to be very specific on what I'm making, because there's some things, if I'm making it, I won't be invested at all.
Right.
But there's other things like the wallets. I was very good at those, and I was very precise, and I knew, like, I had a great technique. So I did that. Our guest is here, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you guys are in for a treat.
Just go
get him.
Mary's gonna come get you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to take a quick little break, and then we'll be back with Ryan NieMiller, who is a very funny comedian. If you watched America's Got Talent, he was on that. He came in third place, I believe, and he's incredibly funny, and he's at Hilarities tonight at 7 p.m. I worked with him last night. He is hysterical, so I'm excited to have him in, and I think Mary knows him kind of well, too. So I don't even think we have to take a break. I think they can come right in here, because I think I'm doing enough time vamping to get us all the way through. And here they come. Yes, I think we got it. All right, so I didn't even have to take a break. I didn't want to take a break. I want to talk to Ryan NieMiller, which he's got a good story about his name. So come on in. We'll put you right here.
Is that better?
And we're just going to keep on going live. I'm not
you
even
didn't
gonna,
take a break?
I'm not going to take a break. Good to see you, buddy. All right. I'm going to take your coat off. Yeah. And Mary, you just got to hit the on button. You're good over there. All right. What's up, Scott?
What's up?
You got to go grab some water? Okay. Do you know how to get it? Do you know where it's at?
Yeah.
right.
Do you know how to drink water?
Well, we have to. We have to get a key because the people that work in this building are just creeps and savages that are just like, oh, free water. I'll just use this at my home, and they'll just take it all. So. Yeah,
just for bathing.
So you can just bring that mic up, and it's hot, and we can get going.
Woo!
So we're on the live stream. We usually do this in accordance with the radio show, but we're on break right now.
Got it.
And so we're just doing some just to stay busy and give the listeners some content.
Sweet, I'll take it.
Yeah. So how was your drive over? How was last night? How's Cleveland treating you?
Cleveland is cold.
Yeah,
I don't care for this.
Did you you've been out in LA for a little while now, right?
Well, I don't even live in LA now. I live in Indianapolis, so
Okay.
I'm just like I don't know.
Weren't you in LA for a while though?
I was. Yeah, I
Okay.
started in LA.
Okay.
Because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Early on, I knew comedy existed in places like Cleveland or Indianapolis, but I thought people were sent.
Yeah.
From New York or LA, so I thought you had to go to like the mines.
Could you imagine going to an open mic and being like, "Oh, they were this person that is absolutely crazy, some sort of undiagnosed mood disorder, was sent from LA to teach us how to do comedy."
Yeah, they're basically on their missionary trip.
Yeah.
For comedy.
They're like, now let me tell you why the C word is actually a really good word to say on stage.
Yeah, but this like living out in LA, I was there for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
It totally ruined the cold for me. Like I can't handle it. Like
Oh, really?
I grew up in Northwest Indiana near Lake Michigan, so it's not like I never experienced horrible weather. But those 3 years out there, my body went, "Hey, do this. Keep doing this forever."
You know what'll fix that?
Thank you.
You go the opposite direction, and you go someplace where it's too hot and too humid. So, like, I lived in the Philippines for a couple of years, and so I'm much more comfortable in cold weather because that humidity is so miserable.
Well, I lived in
And so-
Pensacola. That's not. I mean, it's probably not quite Philippines.
Yeah, but that's pretty close.
Yeah,
that's pretty terrible.
Yeah,
as
it
far
was,
as the humidity goes.
Yeah, it was just pretty terrible in general.
Yeah.
But
Is that the Panhandle?
that's in the Panhandle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I have a cousin that lived around
Where was
that
it?
area.
Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Never been.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like Mary could be from Florida.
Hey, what does that mean?
you know exactly
I know
what that
exactly
means.
what that means.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Last time we said that on air on the early show that we had while you were up on stage. That I grew up super poor, but have somehow developed this bouginess about me, and I feel like that's pretty representative of most people in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm an old trailer park kid. There was some very bougie people in there.
Yes.
Like the amount of people that legitimately would have a trailer that was falling apart, but a $50,000 car,
Right.
just because that's where they decided to put their focus on. And
Right.
like this, I need to have the illusion as opposed to actually getting out of poverty.
Right.
The idea that
Actually.
the idea that you can be in that state where you're impoverished, but you still have that entitlement is very strange to me. That's like, I feel like that's a very uniquely American trait where you're like, yeah, I'm poor, but also look I'm killing it.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm the richest of the poor people.
So
Right.
you grew up in a trailer park.
Yep. Yeah, legit trailer park. Yeah.
And that
so-
was in Indiana?
That
you
was
said?
Indiana, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was like 6 of us packed into a single wide trailer.
Oh,
and-
wow. Brothers, like, so how many brothers and sisters?
So I have 2 brothers, 1 sister.
One sister, and then your parents, and then
Yeah.
trailer parking it up.
Yeah, we had a dog for some reason. Like
Always.
you have-
There's always a
you
pet
shouldn't
in
have
a,
a
in a
dog
trailer.
when you. I didn't even have a bed. Why did we have a
Dude,
dog?
right?
You
We
know,
had
like,
that when I
that's
was growing up too.
ridiculous.
We had pets and animals, and I'm like, my sister and I share a twin bed. Like, what is going
What
on
is
here?
happening
right?
here? Why is the dog sleeping better than me right now? That's
Right.
ridiculous.
I hear you, man.
So, did you go to college or anything like that?
I did. Indiana State.
Indiana State, graduate from there, and then when do you start doing stand-up?
Pretty much right after I graduated.
Okay, so you get out, and then you move right to LA and start.
Yeah,
then.
pretty much right away. So my degree's in theater.
Uh-huh.
Basically, I just didn't want to ever pay off student loans
Yeah,
until like when you get a theater degree, your dream of paying off your student loans requires you to get 3rd place on America's Got Talent. Like that's the only way that
That's the
was
only way you
feasible.
can do it, yeah.
That was the only way that could have fixed that whatsoever.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
You're like the first one to do it too.
Exactly. Yeah. I
You're the
was
first person to ever pay off a theater degree in the history of time.
Yeah, I was convinced I was leaving that for my kids one day. Like if
Yeah.
I ever had kids, that's what
that's
they were
so
going to get
funny.
from me. But yeah, so I got the theater degree, and I did a little bit of professional theater, like just kind of small summer stock stuff. I did
Right.
like a 3-week gig right after I graduated, then packed the car and moved to LA.
So, do you do much acting anymore, or do you promote? I mean, I know you do stand-up full time.
I want to do more acting now.
Yeah.
I've always been someone, I don't know why I've had this mentality where I think like if I'm not focusing on that one thing, I'm not giving that thing enough attention. So for me, it was like I can't possibly get good at stand up if I'm doing plays or if I'm writing sketches or if I'm writing a book or anything like that. It's like that's not how it works.
Right.
But it's difficult to find the balance, though, definitely, of trying to I don't know if you were trying to master both things, but like when you want to be good. You don't want to give half-assed to anything, you know? So
exactly.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
too,
one of the things that like I didn't want to just be someone who does stand up. Like initially right from the get-go I wanted this to eventually be a career.
Yeah.
Right.
So like for me I was like to give it the proper attention that I felt it deserved. I had to do that because theater I love doing it, but takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like I was doing, rehearsals 5-6 nights a week and you have to memorize lines
hours?
and so it's 2-3 hours, then plus you have to spend all this time memorizing your lines and if it's Shakespeare it's weird. And
one of the things that always turned me off about theater and even like doing like sketch comedy is you could be great but somebody else could be bad and it can ruin it. And I didn't like putting that out there. Now I am on
you
like
don't like
an
others
ensemble
bringing you down.
Well, I am on an ensemble talk show where there's other people, but I work with the same people every day. But like the idea of going from like production to production or like bringing people in or just like things like I like being in control, so that's why stand-up's always appealed to me. And I never really and I also like the immediacy of it. So
a big extra thing for me that helped too was the reason I love stand-up so much more is I was getting tired of telling Shakespeare's story. Like it's great, like in those like plays. Some plays are amazing, but that's someone else's tale. That's someone else's story that I'm not. Like I want to tell my nonsense. I want to talk about what I want to talk about,
and like you learn that structure and everything from having it. So it's a good experience to have. But then you go, yeah, but now it's my turn.
Exactly.
I'm a pretty interesting guy.
It helped me so much with stand-up, though, too. Just it probably accelerated my progress 1.5 years, 2 years, because I didn't have to learn how to be on stage. I knew how to find my light. I knew how to not talk over my laughs and like all that. I knew that part of it.
Right.
So all I had to worry about was, okay, how do I be funny?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a very... Like, people don't understand how big of an advantage that is because I had some of that because I was a Mormon missionary and I was speaking in front of people a lot, but it still took me a little while to get that confidence and go from like kind of a shy guy to like someone that would go up there and command the stage.
Exactly.
And so that took me a good like 2 years to really figure out.
I was a cheerleader forever. I did theater in like middle school. Up until that, I was in plays in church productions and things like that, and then I was a cheerleader. So when you're talking about not having to, like, most people can't get over being in front of people, like that freaks them out so much.
Yeah, that's the main hurdle that ruins it for everybody.
But then you like if you have a theater background, you're like, I love the spotlight.
Yeah,
Let's
here
go,
we go.
everybody, eyes up here.
Yeah, I'm
no idea how to be funny, but
yeah. I tell people I'm wired backwards because that's what that's like one of the biggest questions I get about America's Got Talent, for instance, is like, obviously you're getting watched by millions of people, but like you don't see them, so it's not really tangible.
Yeah.
But people were like, there's like 4,000 people in that Dolby Theater. Did you get nervous? And I'm like, no.
Right.
Like that's easy for me. I can make a crowd do what I need them to do.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more intimidated if it's like one-on-one.
Right.
Like if there was just like a girl at a bar and you were like, hey, go talk her up, and I'm like, no.
You're like,
She can sing,
but
she
could
can
you
talk
put on one of my
That's
YouTube
scary.
videos? So that she'll talk to me. Yeah. Like, oh, that's you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, but give me 4,000. I can, because nobody wants to stand out in a crowd of 4,000.
Right.
Nobody wants to be the one weirdo in the audience more often than not. So you can kind of make a crowd ebb and flow the way you need them to.
And a lot of people think they do, and then when they're in that moment, they don't.
Yep.
And I think a good example of that is Kill Tony was just here. That's a podcast where they pull names out of a bucket, and when they do it in L.A., it's a lot of comedians. But when they do it here, it's just dudes that listen to the podcast that want to be on stage.
Yep.
And so they get up there, and they have nothing to say. They think they're going to be like, go up there and kill it.
You don't
I'm
realize-
just wigging. I'm so funny, and my
then that
friends
stage
Oh my
front
God.
happens, and they go, oh no, this
And
is really hard.
And what makes me laugh is that they'll that's when you really realize how long a minute is. Like 60 seconds, when you have no clue and you freeze up, that is the longest amount of time that you've ever felt. I mean, we've all been there where you do a joke and it doesn't work, and then you try to get yourself out of it and it doesn't work, and it's really only been 15 seconds. You're like, I'm gonna die. This has been 2 hours and everybody hates me.
Or even if you just temporarily forget the next part of a joke.
I forgot the name last night. And it might be Mary was there.
Yeah, it might be 3 seconds and your brain just goes,
it's been an hour.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right?
When are they going to start leaving? Yeah. They've been here. It's terrible.
It's like in the back of your head, you're like, oh my God. What is it? It's a sheer panic that happens.
So anyway, I want to make sure we plug this because Ryan is going to be at Hilarities tonight.
Yes.
The show's at 7 p.m. There's still a few tickets available, so I'd go to hilarities.com and get those tickets because he's absolutely hilarious. He came in 3rd place on America's Got Talent, and his name is pronounced Ryan NieMiller.
Yes.
NieMiller. What have you gotten?
Oh, well I made a joke about it last night.
He told the story about last time he was in town, and I thought about telling that story, but I'm like, I'm going to see if he tells the story, and you absolutely did.
So funny.
And you probably heard me laughing, like the only one laughing for that part.
Yeah, but the last time I was in Cleveland, it was probably last year.
Yes,
sometime.
It was I feel like February or March.
Something like that, yeah. And we've known each other, probably 7-8 years?
Yeah.
Something like that. It's been, I don't even know.
Right.
I'm so bad. My memoir is going to be terrible one day. I don't remember
I just remember
anything.
Morty's was like a place.
Was it Trial by Laughter, maybe?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So that was actually right before I started on the radio. So that was probably, man, I hate contests. Because...
As someone who's made a career of basically getting 3rd place on a major contest, I'm like, I hate them all. They should all be done.
It is one of those things where it is what it is. You got to take contests for you know exactly what it is going into it. You know what I mean?
It's networking and stage time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but it's just losing them hurts my feelings so much.
It hurts so much. It hurts, and it's everyone's like, oh, contests are BS because it is very subjective. But so is comedy in general. We got into a thing that one person's gonna love you, one person's gonna hate you, but if the right people love you, you know what I mean? So
yeah, we met all those years ago, and then I introduced him at my show. Like, I love this guy. He's so funny. Please welcome my good friend Ryan NieMiller. And he's like, and I literally just asked you your name, and I like how to say it because I wasn't sure. And then you said NieMiller, and then I felt like.
People think it should be NieMiller.
Yeah.
Or Niemeyer.
Yeah.
Those are the two that people think it should be.
I just ignore the L's.
Yeah, that's like, screw it.
Take letters out completely.
Well, because I think everyone has like a Niemeyer like automotive in their hometown or whatever. It's just one of those names that has like it's Niemeyer plumbing and construction. Yeah, it's always that. So everyone just instinctively says that.
So we were just talking about this before you came in. Mary's looking to find some sort of hobby because right now she's, her career is on fire. She's doing a lot of stand-up. She's doing the radio show now, and she's trying to figure out how to enjoy her downtime without feeling unproductive.
I've been on the road for like the last 5 months, and I got home, and now I have all this time to do nothing. I'm doing local shows and things like that, but like during the day, I'm not driving 6 hours, and I'm not in a different city every day for 10 days. So I'm like,
I think that's so incredibly important. And I tell this to new comics a lot as well, because especially like new comics get so excited and they want to spend all their time doing mics or writing.
Right.
And it's like, no,
or listening to comedy or just like consuming
you have to
it.
go do something. Like your comedy's going to be terrible because you're not actually experiencing life at all.
That's exactly what we were just talking about.
And I also don't trust people who can't tell me what their hobby is.
Right.
And what do you like to do?
So don't trust me.
Try to learn.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate that you acknowledge you're going.
I hate being that person like who identifies with the gym. I'm like, that's like the only other thing that I do. So I'm like, I'll read.
Yeah. I mean, reading counts. Like if you read books, that's like a hobby. But like if I ask somebody like, well, what do you do for fun when you're not working, and they can't answer, I'm like, you probably hide bodies somewhere. Right. That is terrifying that you can't tell me. Like everyone should have one thing that they do for no other reason than it just makes them a little happy.
That's what I was just saying to Bill. I was like, I don't have anything like that isn't connected to comedy. That I don't like. I'm not reading a book that a comedian put out, or I'm not listening to a comedy podcast. Like I need to.
Yeah, you need something that when you have time off, you can do that, and it just is exciting
what is
fun
that
for you?
For you?
Yeah,
I collect and play video games.
Okay.
That's my big thing. Okay. So I have a collection, probably about 2,000 right now. 25
all
consoles.
I was gonna say
from
everything.
Atari to now. It's what I do on the road because I don't drink. I don't do any of the things comics are supposed to do. I'm not trying to find strange or any of this crazy. Well, the stuff that people like glorify that you're supposed to do when you're on the road.
Rock and roll lifestyle.
And I don't do that. So like I'll be in places that like. The shows are great, but like, what am I going to do in Tulsa?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone in Tulsa.
I can find a GameCube here.
Yeah, exactly. I can always find like mom and pa game shops and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I do. And I have friends who just, I know from gaming around the country who they go to their stores and they find stuff I'm looking for, and I try to find stuff for them when I'm going on the road. It gives me something productive. I'm a big fan of completing lists. Like that's just kind of way my brain works. So I have a collector's mentality.
Yeah.
There's only a finite amount of GameCube games that exist. Yeah. So I can kind of check them off as I go. And then I bring stuff with me to play.
And like that's what I was talking about with her. Like I collect records. So the finding them is one thing, and then you get to display them and you get to organize them. And so there's all these different aspects of the hobby that are enjoyable for me. So it's there's
the thrill of the hunt is one thing.
The hunt is one thing, and then they'll like, okay, well now I'm gonna reorganize them this way or that way.
I had to catalog them. I have like apps on my phone so I can see what my collection is, and I can organize them this way. See what their value is versus what I paid for them and all this stuff.
What's your favorite game that you've ever like found?
Favorite game I found on the road. My favorite game ever is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past for Super Nintendo, and I found a pretty close to mint full in-box copy in Tulsa. Actually, is where I was. So.
Do you open that and play it, or is that something you keep for a collection?
I have my general rule. I buy everything in theory with the intention to play it one day. So if something is still sealed, it's probably just because I buy way more than I have time to play in a quick thing. But also, if there's like there's 1,000 ways to play that game, legally. Yeah. There's always illegal ways too, but like there's thousands of ways to play a game like that. So if I have another means where I can play it, I'm not going to open up my fancy complete version if I don't have to. But I'm not the type of collector. I want to take care of my stuff and I want it in good shape. But
you want to use it.
I'm not necessarily buying stuff to be like a grail that no one's allowed to look at unless there's armed guards.
I'm also like I kind of got into sneakers in the past year or two. Like it's one thing that I always enjoyed, but like now I kind of have the means to indulge in it a little bit, and I like to wear the shoes that I buy. Like it's not just a thing where I want to buy them and display them. I want to wear them, and I want people to see me wearing them because I like them that much. And so it's that same mentality where I'm going to snap up anything that I can, and if I can flip it and then use that to buy more shoes, I'll do that. But generally, every pair of shoes that I buy, I intend on wearing.
Exactly, yeah. And for me too, it's also like a cool thing that I kind of am a library for some of my friends. Like if they like, oh, do you have this game? I probably do.
Yeah.
And you can borrow it. So it's not like I'm trying to.
What's a game that's like elusive that you're trying to?
Oh, I'm still early enough in collecting that there's a lot that's elusive.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
People know about this now, so.
There's a comic in Michigan. His name's Dan Curry. I don't know if you know him.
I know the name. I don't know
Lansing.
if I know Dan, but.
He just hit me up because he's brand new into like he's starting his gaming collection. And I had just posted something on my Instagram story, and I have an Xbox 360, like the old white one.
Okay.
And he's like, oh my God, I'm looking to get one of those. Like, do you want to sell it to me? I was like, it's autographed by Jason Mraz. And he was like, what?
That's the weirdest thing.
I won it off the radio in like 2008. I called into a radio contest, and the prize, like the top prize was like backstage passes to a Jason Mraz concert.
Okay.
But if you were the right caller, you won this Xbox 360, and then you got entered to win the backstage passes and stuff like that. And he was like, you understand that is my personality. Like an Xbox 360 with Jason Mraz autograph, that's who I am as a person. And he's like, she's like, how much do you want for it? What do you want? Like, I'll give you anything. And I'm just like, but it's like my DVD player, man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But you can get a DVD player for $30.
I was like, but if I give you this, it is like I have no interest in it or anything like that. But
by the way, I have a Roku player for you that I keep forgetting to bring to you.
What is that? I have a DVD collection and my Xbox 360.
It's so you can stream stuff on Netflix without having to.
And then I plug my laptop into my TV to watch Netflix.
So it's just a little.
So you're still living in a dorm.
I live in a basement. You're saying. Yes,
got it. Exactly perfect. That's exactly.
I am so not 21st century. It's unbelievable.
So, with all the success that you've had this year, you told me last night that you paid off all your student loans.
Oh, so exciting!
And you actually mentioned that already. But what else have you kind of indulged in? Have you like purchased a car, or have you like got like a new apartment or anything like that, or are you just kind of saving right now?
I'm mostly saving. I had to buy a new car over the summer because I got hit by a semi in Atlanta. Which was not. I'm actually surprised with this how long I've been on the road that hasn't happened already. You know, like I think it's like I don't want it to sound all doom and gloom, but I think it's pretty inevitable at some point.
Yeah.
If you're a road dog, you're gonna hit a deer. Or you're gonna something's gonna happen out of your control.
I had a near miss with a deer where like I missed a deer, but then I like went through the median and like jumped and like really messed up my car. And,
you Dukes a hazard instead.
It was very scary.
In February of this year, I was supposed
into oncoming traffic, but there wasn't any traffic.
Well, that's yikes.
February of this year, I had a gig in the UP, and it was I mean that's already a 9-hour drive just to get up there.
Was it at Traverse City?
No, that was on the way though. But if I forget, you're from the Midwest. You've done all these gigs.
I've done all the funny business stuff and all that.
So I have to do. It was like a couple independent shows up there, up in Marquette. There was like a brewery show, and then there was a funny business, the Sault Ste. Marie.
Okay.
That's the Thursday night, and then I was going to come back down and do Traverse City Friday and Saturday, and then do like a couple other casino gigs. Right.
Got it.
So I'm on my way up, but it was this horrible whiteout, and kind of a similar thing happened where it was the snow. There was like no lanes at all. There was like nothing. It was so bad.
Just hoping for the best.
That's kind of exactly what happened. And then like a semi was all the way in the left lane, and I was kind of like in the middle, like the best you could, and they just started to drift. And like when you see a semi move in two parts, that is the most terrifying thing.
Yeah.
I was like off into the ditch and then pulled over, and I'm like sitting trying to collect myself in a rest stop, just like crying and freaking out.
Oh, as you should be.
And you tell people it's like when you're, like you said, when you're driving for a living, these are the risks you don't think about. Or like that when you get to a show and you're like, hey, I drove 9 hours to get here. People are like, okay, be funny. And you're like, I almost died on the way to get here.
Oh, God. Yeah, the amount of like, because I told stories like that on AGT about like sleeping in my car and all that. And for some of them, it was the most mind-blowing thing they've ever heard. And for us, it's like, well, that's how you get to the gig.
That's
how you survive.
That's how you get to Wichita overnight
Yeah.
after you had a gig in Ohio. Like, that's how you make it.
Yeah.
You sleep in your car.
Sleep in your car, you save money, you do, like the amount of driving that I started was doing when I first started, like my first paid gig was in I was hosting in Colorado. So I drove from Ohio to Colorado to make $150.
Yep.
And people are like, why would you do that? I'm like, because
that's what it is.
I'm trying to do this.
Yep.
This is all I want to do. I don't have a backup plan. It
is a super expensive hobby for a long time.
Yeah.
You definitely you do it for the connections. You do it for the just the stories to get better.
Yeah.
Comedy is one of the few arts that you have to actually go do it in front of real humans to actually get good. Because if you want to learn guitar, you could sit in your room for 10,000 hours before anyone ever hears you, and you will know you're good or not.
Yeah.
Comedy, nope.
No.
Not at all. You have to test that in front of real people. But as
what
far
happened
as
in Atlanta?
Oh, so I just got hit by the semi. I was going to do some gigs. So AGT was already going at that point. So my first round, I think, had already aired. And I was going down to Middle for Samuel J. Comroe, who's a good friend of mine. He was on AGT 2 years ago. And he was very helpful with the whole experience of how this all works and what to expect. So I was just going down there, and it was like rush hour traffic in Atlanta, and got over into a lane, and that lane kind of stopped. And the semi didn't behind me, and just kind of.
So it rear-ended you.
Yeah. So luckily he was paying enough attention to know this is happening.
But crunch your car like an accordion.
Yeah. Had he been going faster, I would have been in some serious trouble because I got knocked into the car in front of me as well, so I was stuck. Could have been a lot worse than it was, but I had to buy a car sooner than it's part of the old trailer park mentality. Like the car that I bought now, I bought a 2017 Nissan Sentra. I'm gonna ride that until it doesn't work anymore.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how much money I make. That's how people lose their money.
Right. Just be practical. Get it something nice, like you said. 2017, still a brand new car.
It was. I think it had 22,000 miles. It was basically a nice rental car when I bought it.
I bought 2017 Kia Forte after I got, and it was just like, this car's great on gas. Terrible in the snow, but great on gas. I need it when I'm on the highway going and just 385 miles until I have to do anything. 45 miles per gallon. Yeah. Something that I can drive for the next 15 years and not worry about it.
And I mean, we've been all doing this business long enough that we've seen so many people who were huge at one point who are now doing the same gigs that we're doing on the way up.
Yeah.
And you're like, none of this is guaranteed to you whatsoever.
Right.
So the last thing I want to do is start balling and buying all. The only thing I splurge on is video games, and I don't even do it to the point where I'm not avoiding paying rent or anything like that.
Right.
And plus, I still have the mentality too. Like, say something comes up, I need a major surgery, or something like that happens. I'll sell that damn collection. It's not like I'm going to be like, no, you can't touch it. It's my baby.
Right.
Right.
It's nothing that.
That's good though. And like you said, that's a kind of that growing up poor where you're just like, this is all still just stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
all of this can go away.
And it can all go away. And also, even if you have the means, like it kind of ruins it if you can just buy it all.
Yeah.
Like if you just go and buy it all and then like don't do the searching for it or don't.
The hunt is most of the fun of this.
Yeah. So
because I could afford to buy like an entire N64 collection right now.
Right.
I could write that check and have it. But the fun is
that's no fun.
going to these little weird flea markets and Goodwills and seeing what your buddies can find and seeing what they can find for you. And
it's a hobby. Like
exactly.
You said,
That's part of that. It gives you like a personality to it as opposed to just buying things.
Yeah.
So this is Ryan NieMiller. He is at Hilarities tonight. The show's at 7 p.m. Tickets are available at hilarities.com. I'll be hosting the show, and Dave Yates is featuring, and he's very funny too. So it's a very good show, especially if you like white guys with beards.
Maybe I'll come by and switch up your lineup a little bit.
Yeah, give us a little female power.
Hey, if you want to do a spot.
Little title lineup. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, feel free if you want to do a spot. I'm not against it.
So as far as so you like video games, what about pop culture stuff? Are you into movies or anything like that? Because there's a big one dropping today. I don't know if you're into the Star Wars movies. But,
I'm into the Star Wars movies later.
Yeah.
I have this thing, like, I'm not going to be, like, contrarian and be like, who likes TV and movies? Because that's dumb. Like, everyone likes something in TV and movies. But
I don't like contests and I don't like TV.
Exactly. I specifically hate NBC. Their lineup just going to ruin my life right now. By the way, catch me January 6th on AGT The Champion Season 2. I'll be on that season. I have this, and it drives my girlfriend insane, but I don't like to watch anything in the moment that it's super popular.
Oh, really?
So, like, I won't watch a TV show until it's done.
Is that so you can watch it in its entirety?
If I like it, I want to be able to finish it. So I had to, when I moved back to Indianapolis about 2.5 years ago, my apartment wasn't ready yet, so I was crashing at my sister's place, just sleeping on her couch. And this was before, I think, season 7 of Game of Thrones. And she's a huge Game of Thrones fan. And she was like, I want to rewatch seasons 1 through 6 before 7 starts.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping on her couch.
Yeah.
So I got to watch those.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then I had that moment of having to wait like a year plus for the next season.
It was like 18 months. It was rough.
I hate that feeling. And I know there's like something to be said about being in like the moment and like being able to be part of the conversation while it's happening. But for me, I want to be like, oh, Breaking Bad's awesome and I can watch all of it.
Yeah.
That's
I can
watch
100%.
I can binge it. So I've been watching old stuff. Like I watched a couple years ago, I got through Frasier.
Oh, I just did Frasier. I love Frasier. Frasier's a great show.
I started Cheers.
Yeah, I did Cheers right before that, too.
And I started it after. I was probably 2015 when I was like, all right, I'm going to start watching Cheers because I've had a lot of comics be like, this is one of the, because I'm obsessed with The Office. I'm wearing an Office shirt right now. They were like, if you like that kind of humor, and it's funny, they're like, Cheers is one of the best comedy written, punch.
Yeah.
Like, you'll appreciate it for what it is. And it was one of those, you can just watch the whole thing through, enjoy it. It's hilarious. They're 20 minutes, like perfect.
Yeah, and I like watching stuff like that too, just because like now that I'm old enough, like I was like in middle school and high school when Frasier was originally on, and like that show's not written for a 7th grader.
No,
so there's other things that I'm just like,
even if you kind of enjoyed it, now you really get it. Yeah,
exactly. So it's like you can get that, and just like Frasier, I was surprised with like just how good the physical comedy was as well. There's so much good pratfalling.
What's his face?
David Hyde Pierce is amazing.
Incredible. Like him getting startled, I could watch that anytime. Like he'd get startled, or like there'd be some sort of like Daphne moment where she'd like bend over and he'd be like, "Buh!" Like so good, or just like him trying to like he is brilliant when it comes to
highly recommend that show. Yeah, so I've been doing I know it's not technically over, but I think 30 seasons of The Simpsons is something I can dive into right now.
I just started doing that because of Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's the reason I got Disney Plus. I'll watch some of the other stuff. Like I like Disney as a thing.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate that universe and stuff, but like I got it to watch 30 seasons of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
That's just what
it's one of those shows that shaped my sense of humor so much because I would just record every episode when it aired, and then I'd watch them again and again and again. So those first 10 seasons, I know inside and out, but then I kind of fell off for a while. So it's nice to see that, like, where I thought the show had fallen off, it hasn't fallen off. It got a little strange, and there's some seasons where, like, you're like, wow, they really made Homer terrible.
Yeah.
Like, he's a horrible human being in some of these seasons. But I feel like they kind of found, like, they got back to their original themes when like around season 15.
That's a huge reason I'm excited to go through it, because I'm kind of the same way. Those first 10 seasons I watched pretty religiously, and then I've just kind of watched here and there over the years. So there's going to be a lot of it that's just going to be brand new to me. Even through that experience, and then plus, so I get the nostalgia of the stuff I remember. And then all this new stuff.
Simpsons was, because I didn't have cable growing up, or saying growing up porn things. That was one of the shows that I would watch every night. It was like Simpsons and then Friends.
Yeah.
At 6:30 and 7, and it was on, I think, Channel 8.
Yeah.
And here, and you just like, when I think about it, I was, again, very young when The Simpsons was really booming. And that's something that maybe I should go back and watch too. Because it's adult
I'll
humor.
get you that Roku, and then you can get Disney Plus. And, you can actually stream
then in the 3 years it takes you to learn the Roku, and then right after that,
actually
boom.
have to get up to turn it on.
It's
That's
impressive.
pretty crazy.
Exactly.
All right. Well, again, Ryan NieMiller tonight at Hilarities, 7 p.m. Tickets are available at hilarities.com, and then you are on social media at Cripple Threat 8.
8, the number 8.
That's one of those things that you kind of talked about, like.
Yeah. The story behind it's not as sexy as people want it to be. So Cripple Threat was originally going to be my pro wrestling name, because that was the original dream, was to be a pro wrestler. That's if you said I have hobbies, pro wrestling, like watching and going to shows, is probably the other thing that I have. And
that's huge in the comedy community.
Yeah, that's not
too.
unique for comics at all.
No, but that's cool that you can have other comics, like if you're on the road or something, and you guys, I don't know, are there events that you watch on TV or like whatever, kind of like, UFC
and the cool thing
like
is
that.
like just through like wrestling, a lot of wrestlers are huge in stand up too.
Yeah.
So it kind of is very mutual. Like I got to do for the finals of AGT, I got to do something with Chris Jericho.
I saw that.
That's
was
very
so cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's the weirdest thing. Like the kind when people ask like, "How's your life changed?" I had Thanksgiving at Chris Jericho's house.
Oh, that's
like,
incredible.
That's pretty weird.
17-year-old me's going, "Ah, this is crazy." Yeah, so it's just weird how crazy my life has gotten. But I wanted to be a pro wrestler. That's why I originally got into like theater and stuff like that. Because I was never going to be the most athletic guy, but I was like, oh, I can be the most entertaining. I can be interesting and like that.
Have a fun story.
Exactly. And my back just couldn't take the training. Like that stuff. Anyone who says it's fake, you're wrong. It's scripted. Those are two very different things. Because I played real sports for years growing up. Never felt anything nearly as painful as the fake stuff of that.
Like
so,
that fall on that mat, which is not soft.
It's metal and plywood.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
But it's still hard.
I mean, you can hear it.
That's how you get that sound.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a trampoline where you're like, But so I trained for about 3 months. My body couldn't take it, but I came up with the Cripple Threat name, and I really liked that name.
It's very funny. Yeah.
So I was like, I can still use that. And then when I tried to,
you got some good brand. You got Cripple Threat and Club Nub, and it's
Club Nub I did not ask permission for on AGT, and I'm glad they ran with it.
Nice.
I just literally yelled that before I think the quarterfinals, and they luckily got on board with it. The social media team really liked me, so they ran with it. But so Cripple Threat, when I first got to Xbox Live, I tried to just do Cripple Threat as the name, and it was taken. So I added an 8.
Oh, there you go. Very nice.
That's the sexiness of that story.
No, I love it.
People were like, "Oh, there's 7 before you." And I'm like, I actually got to talk to the guy who has Cripple Threat on Instagram.
Oh yeah, were you like, "Give me this," or did you not want it?
No, he got bombarded by people after my AGT audition aired because people didn't pay attention that my stuff was Cripple Threat 8.
Got it.
Because
he's got all these followers.
So he got all these people, and he like messages me. He's like, I don't watch AGT, but I'm sending people your way, and congratulations.
Aww.
And he's like a nice guy. We talk every once in a while. Like he's a cool dude. Like he could have been super mad about it, but he was like, I don't know who these people are, but congratulations, buddy. You look funny.
Would you say one of my favorite things in comedy is when people start to make it and they start to get to that next level, when they say sentences that they're like, I never thought I'd be able to say that. So when you say, I had Thanksgiving at Chris Jericho's house, is that probably like, when you say, think of a sentence that represents where you're at, would that be it?
That's pretty up there.
You know what you should do? You should add to that, be like, I had Thanksgiving at Chris Jericho's house, and it was terrible. Yeah. Like, seem like you're above it. Like, listen, good wrestler, terrible cook. Just awful. I would not recommend it.
What got me on that, I worked with Tom Green years ago at the Toledo Funny Bone, and the sentence that he said, he was like, the president of the United States fired me for getting drunk with Dennis Rodman. And I was like, that sentence is like, so those are what I look for when I see like comics. I'm like, give me your sentence. You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah, so for right now, that's kind of it. Because, I mean, you guys know how like I think the hardest adjustment, if I had to say anything for kind of quote unquote making it, is like so much of my personality was wrapped up in kind of fighting from underneath.
Right. Yeah.
Like we're these road dogs who do all these terrible gigs,
show
and we're
up
just
and
like,
nobody knows who you are.
And these people won't book us, and these people are like, we're so
exactly.
good, we're ready for this, and these people won't return our emails, and now people are driving 7 hours to come see me. Like and it's flattering and it's great, and I'm very appreciative, but like I've had to adjust how my brain works, because now I have to figure out what the next thing I'm fighting from underneath is.
Right.
Because it's not getting into clubs anymore.
No.
It's not getting people to come to see shows.
But now it's getting, like, just getting stuff out there in different ways. So, like, maybe starting a podcast or doing a special or something like that.
Yes. So the next thing's in the immediate. I want to really work on my Twitch stream, since I'm such a video gamer. Like, that's something I can do on the road.
Yeah.
And I want to get back into acting again. Like, that's something awesome. I want to, now that I kind of feel this has worked out somewhat, and I can kind of run with this AGT credit for a while. Awesome. It's like, okay, now, because my biggest fear in 5 years, if I'm still known as the guy from AGT, I screwed up somewhere.
Yeah, you want to use this as a springboard to do
exactly.
Do the next thing.
I'm so appreciative, and I will be forever grateful to AGT for taking the chance on me and really pushing me and letting me kind of run what I wanted to do. But if in 5 years I'm still AGT's Ryan NieMiller, I messed up.
But it's like almost, you say, you grind out on the road so long that you kind of see those people who arc and come back, where 30 years later they're still using like Comic View or like, you know what I mean? And you're like, dude, that shows me off the air.
HBO's Young Comics or whatever that was.
Right. But that's good to be able to use that and go in the right direction with that. Yeah. It's so awesome.
And plus, like, I mean, like, I think that's for a lot of us, like, the reason that I was able to make it on AGT and do so well is because I've had this drive to not just settle for because I was okay, like I was comfortable, like it sucked, but like I was paying my bills as a road dog. It's not like I was homeless or I had a little money saved and all that, but like that wasn't good enough, you know. And even this, like, it's great, but like it's not good enough for what I want to do.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah. And that grind of just being like having a little bit of money saved, but like things could go wrong at any minute, like that is so terrifying when you're living that gig lifestyle where it's week to week. You got to have something.
That's exactly
or you don't
where
make
I
any
am
money,
right
and
now.
it's so
I was
so
telling
scary.
him I took time off the road because I was like, I've been on the road since August. I want to be home. I want to take time to just sit and I've been going crazy just
which
sitting.
is important.
Yeah, it is
it's
important.
Super important.
But we also have been off air for radio, so I'm like, oh no, I didn't schedule any gigs, and now we don't have radio.
I have $0.
I've been living and I have a little bit of money put away, but I'm like, oh man, $1,000 is not that much money.
Yeah,
you have to live off of it.
Yeah,
I definitely see where you're coming from with that, where you're like, use it, be comfortable for now, but there's something else to go for.
Because that was always the fear even before. Like I was doing the last year and a half that I was full-time comedy, because I really dragged my heels going full-time comedy because I was scared of just not having stuff. But I was doing fine, but I was still always one canceled week.
Oh yeah,
from a rough time. You know, like
I remember when I was
soup for dinner.
Exactly.
Like the year before, I did like a good 8 years working as a road comic, and they had various years of success. But like towards the last 2 or 3 years, I was working 40 to 42 weeks on the road, and then every week that I wasn't on the road, I was working somewhere in Cleveland. and so I was making good money, but it's so like the
wears you
anxiety
down.
was killing me.
Yep.
So when I was able to get on this show, it was such a relief to just be able to have a steady paycheck and like know where it's coming from on a weekly basis.
Yeah, even now, like just because my brain is still wired that way, like my manager has to talk me down a couple times.
Yeah,
like you don't have to take this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Because I'll look at like I have like an empty weekend in May right now, and like my brain's going, but it's like no, I'm gonna use that week to like just enjoy myself.
Like go on a vacation.
Dinner.
Yeah.
On a Friday night, go eat an appetizer with someone you like.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing because I'm in a new relationship as well, and she's not in entertainment at all. So
what's that? You got a civilian?
We've actually known she's been my best friend we dated like 15 years ago. It's
and then you get on TV and she's like, all right,
this bitch,
it's not quite that.
Okay.
I'll get more
Tell
into
your
that.
truth then.
Yeah, I'll get more into the full story of all that later. It'll be a fun story later.
Yeah.
But like she's an elementary school teacher, and so like she has a very rigid's not probably the right word, but it's very structured. She knows these are the exact dates I work. This is how much money I make every month. This is when I have time off. This is this.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, well, I'm going to be in Vermont, and then I go to this. So like having to like factor in stuff that like oh, if a relationship's going to work with someone who's not in this business, you occasionally have to hit the brakes a little bit and not just be go.
But being able to afford to do that now is got to be
the fact that I can take
helpful.
a week off.
Yeah. You can have a Saturday because she's free Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday during the day, and like that now you have the freedom to be able to take your girl out for a nice dinner on a Saturday and not be like,
I should have been working. I'm
great.
Comedy's forgotten me because I didn't work this weekend.
Right, that's really great for you, though.
So it's really nice.
Did she come with you to Cleveland?
No, she did not.
I just thought maybe she's on break right now and she might want to see the wonderful, beautiful Rust Belt.
No, she's coming. Her dad lives in Kansas City, so she lives in Southern California right now. So she's coming out to Kansas City. I'm there the 30th at the Improv, and then New Year's Eve I'm doing at Helium in St. Louis.
Oh, cool.
So she's coming out for those two.
What's your website?
Cripplethreat.com.
Okay, because we do have...
No 8 on that one.
We have listeners and viewers all over the country. So,
nice.
They can check you out and go see him. If he's in your town,
I'm literally all over right now. I've been going... My November alone, this is why I need a break. In November alone, I performed 26 of 30 days... 35 shows, 9 states in Canada.
Yeah.
So like
That's
I'm tired.
This guy. That's awesome.
It's a good problem to have. I'm glad people want me to go places, but like
that's awesome.
You're done, and it's one of those things where you almost feel bad complaining about it. You're like, if I have to sit in one more goddamn airport, I swear to God, like
My complaints, I always feel I have to put a little asterisk near it of like my complaints are very much of my diamond necklace is too heavy situation. Like it's hurting my back. There's too many diamonds in this thing.
Right.
But I think I can't remember whose quote it is, but it's a relatively famous comedy quote of like you don't get paid for the show, you get paid for the travel.
Yeah.
And because I don't think people, if you don't travel, you don't understand how exhausting airports are.
Yeah,
and rental cars.
Well, you don't drive it really
I still do a long drive. Yeah. I mean, tonight after the show, I have to basically get paid, immediately drive back to Indianapolis to catch my 6 a.m. flight to Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
So it's like people don't get how just exhausting that part of things.
That's miserable.
I've tried to explain that to people, and it's like, because driving, and it just takes all of your energy, and you don't realize it because you're like, oh, you're just sitting, but it's like, and then to have to do that and get on stage, it's just oof.
Yeah, I drove 13
hours. You did that yesterday, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I drove that 5.5 hours, and then boom, it's showtime. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you try to get there early, maybe sneak a nap in or something. Yeah. So
and you can't punish the crowd that shows up because like it's they paid.
They're excited,
and especially now there's a lot of pressure because people are paying
to see you.
Good, they're coming to see me specifically, so I can't just be tired because. I'm a little sleepy.
And this is how Ryan's cocaine habit began. All right, so we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you again for coming in, Ryan. You can see him tonight at Hilarity, 7 p.m. And go to cripplethreat.com to see if he's coming to a town near you. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter at cripplethreat8.
Yes.
And thanks for coming in.
And if you have video games, I want them.
Yeah. Hit him about
I need to start using my celebrity to get people to bring.
I have a Banjo-Kazooie for Xbox 360.
Okay, all right. We'll talk after.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and this will also be up on iHeartRadio on the Flicks and Bill podcast. I'm at Bill Squire on Instagram and Twitter, and Mary is Mary_Santora on Twitter, and Mary Santora Comedy on Instagram. And then come see us at the Agora, which we've already sold more tickets than we did last year, and we're still 10 days out for Bill Squire's Christmas Kwanzaa. So get those tickets while they last. All right, and that's all.